All right, one more time, we're Los FabuLocos, and you're watching us on Musica LA.
Welcome to Musica LA. I'm your host, Rocio Libertad Mendoza, and tonight we are at Nick's Taste of Texas in Covina, California, where we are about to taste some music from a group of very talented musicians out of Boyle Heights, California. They're a very diverse and well-seasoned group of músicos. Some of them are former members of the Blazers. I'd like to present to you, con mucho sabor, Los FabuLocos. Welcome to Musica LA. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us. Please introduce yourselves, starting with you.
With me, I'm Ruben Guadarrama, and I'm the guitar player.
I'm Mike Molina, I'm the drummer, and we'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
I'm Jesse Jesus Cuevas, I'm the accordion player, the singer, Mike's buddy.
So who was the founder of Los FabuLocos, and when did this happen?
Well, Jess and I, we formed it together. We took it on ourselves. Once we left the Blazers, the music was so well received in the area because there was too many bands playing the rancheras and the cumbias, and the way Jesse plays with his accordion. There wasn't that, and the people really liked it, and we had to continue with that. We had to just go that route. We couldn't let it go. People wanted it. They couldn't see it going away, and just putting it on the shelf and say that was a one-time band, and maybe you guys might try and get back together. We just kept it going.
You've all been playing music for several years, and can you tell us a little bit about your musical background and what are your influences?
Oh, that goes kind of a few years back, just a few years. A lot of rock and roll, rhythm and blues, but everything within the folk, mixed in with all the folk stuff that we hear from Mexico, and all the tropical rhythms, cumbias and rancheras, and all that different stuff, just put it in a pot, stirred around. That's how we grew up. Listening to, we were lucky, I think, I was lucky, live in a household where I was hearing everything, and the radio stations back then in LA they would play a big variety of stuff, so it's like there was no boundaries, no separation.
It wasn't segregated. You would hear the Doors, and then you would hear the Four Tops, and then you would hear the Beach Boys, and then you'd hear about Marvin Gaye. It was all together. We would play basketball, we played football, played caroms or marbles. Back in those days, we didn't have this thing going to the sideways, and one station was dedicated to hip hop or techno or whatever. It was all together. And
what is your musical background?
I grew up. My folks, they were more to like Bob Dylan, Donovan, and Hank Williams and Johnny Cash. They were into, like Ruben mentioned, the folk era, and I would hear that. That would be going on. And then it's time when Stones were coming on, he got into Stones. Even David Bowie. He went to a David Bowie concert with his buddies from work. I mean, Dad, Bowie.
David Bowie's amazing.
Hey, it was enough, man. So that's how I got into that, and then got into the cumbias, and when Jess introduced it more so, and the Blazers, the Blazers, they did the Mickey Loudon stuff, and that was when I started getting into it. I wasn't really sure how to play it. I just know I liked it. And I missed out on it. And then Jesse brought in the rancheras and the polkas. It was like something that was in my DNA. This surfaced when they came to play. Really something.
And you, Jesse?
I listen to a lot of different kinds of music too. Everything from like Los Veteran to Clifton Chenier, the Blasters, Los Lobos. I was a big Blazers fan, and I was fortunate to play with the Blazers for like about 12, 13 years. So that I learned a lot playing with them and traveling. I mean, I like all kinds of music. Like Park Owens, Mount Haggard, X. It's just all kinds of stuff. Kind of hard to, the Mickey Loudon stuff, like he was saying. La Sonora Santanera, just grab from everything, like 80s item from everything.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about that. My favorite instrument is the accordion, and I listen to a lot of Musica norteña from my dad. And I know that the accordion is used in folk music in about 30 countries all over the world.
It's a world instrument, basically.
Exactly. And Zydeco is definitely one of those accordion-driven sounds. Is that what inspired you to play Zydeco, or was it something entirely different?
Well, I got into it for myself. Everything kind of, I was big into Los Lobos, and then I started digging into like the stuff that they learned from, and then I started, I found like Clifton Chenier and Buzu and guys like that, and I started getting into that. Then not to mention guys like Flaco. Once I got into Flaco, then I started finding Babalero, Longoria, more of the Tex-Mex or the conjunto, the Hano guys, playing accordion. So, but it just kind of like snowballed, being into one thing, and then I go, well, who do they learn from, and then I try to see if some of that little bit will rub off. Then hopefully some of it did, but it just kind of snowballed and I got into different stuff.
You dig in.
But I mean, I love that Zydeco music though. It's soulful. It's some good stuff.
For sure.
I mean, pretty much Clifton Chenier is like that's the book right there. That's he wrote the book when it comes to Zydeco.
So, how do you feel that the music scene has changed in Chicano music in Los Angeles, and do you think that it has been for the better?
Yeah, there's a big surge, I think, with the kids that are doing a lot of cumbias now. There's a lot of, they're putting their own stamp on it. They're bringing it up. They're stepping it up. They got it. They got the feel. They got a lot of heart for it, and they're innovative, and they bring in. They don't just stick to traditional instruments. Some of them do, but then they'll bring in some electronics. But they bring the feel. They bring it. They bring it, and people are receiving it, and I'm happy for them. I'm glad. There's a little spot for us to get in there too.
That's nice.
Yeah, in years past, there was very few musicians in their 20s and the teens and 20s that were playing. They would be like rock and roll or soul music, and in LA, and pretty much that was it for a lot of musicians. And as generations went by, more and more musicians started playing music from the old country, so to speak. But it's a good thing, opening up to anything.
So Los Angeles has the second largest Mexican population in the world, next to Mexico City. And how do you feel that Los Angeles Chicano music is received across the border?
I haven't played over there.
I haven't played over there. I could just gauge that by what the guys tell me to go down there. Like Los Lobos, they're received, but they've been going down there since they were early years, in their 20s, when they would go down to Veracruz playing the Son Jarocho, learning and getting down with the the folk, with the originators down there, with the people that that were brought up, made instruments out of one piece of wood, a solid piece. So they've been around there enough, and they've been received. And sometimes they get booed, sometimes, I hear that.
Yeah.
But
well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So you've recorded 2 albums as Los FabuLocos, and can you share with us some of your favorite songs on those albums? Y por qué?
I hate them all.
Go on, Jess, you wrote most of them.
My favorite one is Mexicano Americano.
It's an old, it's an old. I don't know where that one came from. I think I heard it. Of course, I heard Los Lobos do it, but then I also heard it on the Chulas Fronteras. I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary.
I haven't.
Los
No.
Pingüinos did it on there, and that's back from like the 70s. And I think that's where the Lobos got it. And then it just everybody likes it, so pretty much we figured we put it on the record. And that was on the first record.
First one.
Yeah, there it is, right there. That's
The second one.
Yeah.
But
That's
do you have a favorite song that you're screaming?
Yeah.
When you put music together and you're putting your thing out there, it's like when people say, "Do you have your favorite song?" Well, it's like trying to pick your favorite kid. If you have children, it's like you don't have favorites, man. We love them all.
That's a great way to
Yeah,
put
they
it.
all kind of mean something different. They all come from
From a different place,
different frame of mind you had at the time.
and so we just hope that the audience loves them all equally as well.
Yeah.
Every night it's a different favorite song. The ones I mess up on, I don't care too much for it.
That makes sense.
Well,
So what's next for you as a band?
Hopefully, keep working and keep stay friends.
I know a live
hard
album. A live album has been mentioned. We've been talking about doing a live recording, and people have been asking, quite frankly, demanding that we put out a live recording. And yeah, we'll get that. We'll get to that.
You guys are a really strong live band. So.
Pack my grip and ride away. Sometimes I think I won't, then again I think I will. Times I wanna be here, then again I wanna stay. Times I wanna stay here, then again I wanna leave. Pack my grip and ride away. Yes, I got my drink there. Pack my grip and ride away. Yes, I got my drink there. Pack my grip and ride away.
Jesse, let's hear it for Jesse Cuevas. Give him that ending. Sticking it, baby. You're sticking it. Thank you.
And where can our audience come and see you perform?
I don't know, where can they, Mike?
Well, right now is the time we're doing more corporate parties. You know, we're doing that, Christmas parties. And we'll be back here probably around Super Bowl time. We do our annual Super Bowl, but we call them a Noodle Bowl. We have this is our Gobble Wobble because it's right after Thanksgiving. And
The gig's got to be.
yeah, we got to have that. But we get to play in San Diego down at Theoleo's, and we had a good show there last week. It was sold out, filled to capacity. There was quite a bit of people outside that got turned away. And we'll play down Ventura. We'll play at ABC Club over here. Been talking about going to the M Bar at Boyle Heights. I know we've been asked to do that. So just a matter of scheduling. And La Cita also I was asked to book a show there soon. So.
Awesome. And our audience can get the information on your website?
Correct. You can go to Facebook. Yeah. Reach out to us on our Facebook page, Los FabuLocos.
Perfect. So my last question is, what advice would you like to give to up-and-coming musicians that want to make a career as musicians?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Go to school.
Run.
Run fast. You know, if you have an idea, as you know, when we started playing as kids, you have that passion, you have that love, and if you can sustain that and keep that, that's the important thing. And of course, practice your instrument, practice all the time. Get it right. If it sounds good to you, it's going to sound good to the audience. And then when you play in front of a crowd, listen to what the audience's response is. As you're growing, as you're doing more and more gigs, it'll help you. Just keep on.
Yeah. Play from your heart. Play from your heart. If it's in your heart to play, you'll do it. Nobody has to tell you to practice. Nobody has to say, here, now's your. You have to go in there in your room and do your studies on your instrument. Oh, you would go home. You would do it. You would just, with whatever you have. I could play drums on my desktop, on my legs. You know, you could do that. And that's how it is even in art. If you're an artist, you know, you're going to draw, you're going to sketch, you're going to paint. And there's a painting up there, as a matter of fact. That painting up above me, that happens to be my artwork here.
Oh, really?
On the CD, so it just...
That's awesome.
Forgot about that.
Very nice.
It just came to me. That one.
Multi-talented.
But my point is just follow. If you're in your heart, like we were saying, if you're passionate, do it. Nothing's gonna stop you. Nothing's gonna stop you. Even if they tell you you can't do it, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna do it anyway. Keep doing it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you.
Bless it.
Thank you, Musica LA. Thank you very much.
That's right. Thank you for watching Musica LA with your host Rocio Libertad Mendoza, where we bring to you music that could only be found in the beautiful city of Los Angeles. I'd like to thank our guests tonight, Los FabuLocos. I'd also like to thank Nick's Taste of Texas for being such wonderful hosts, and I'd like to thank you, our viewers, for your eternal support. You're watching Musica LA.